I get those goosebumps. I get those goosebumps every time you come around. Movies on mine, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those cons. I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Loaded Mag NUFC Battleground Europe number 4, the final 4. And look, we've got a 3-pronged attack tonight because myself, Mark, and Chris are here representing Loaded and Newcastle United. And look, we're delighted to be welcomed by Saeed TV and Saeed, Man United fan. And then we've got Errol repping the other side of the Northwest in Liverpool Football Club. So, boys, welcome into the channel. How are you?
Good, man.
Yeah, man. Not too bad. That is that your new intro, by the way. I felt I was in IB for them, man. I was like, yo, I'm getting
Not like a budget on this channel, Saeed.
No, you know what? It's good, man. It proper pumps you up, man. So now, big up to you for having me on, and big up the chat. And yeah, man, let's do this, man. Good look forward to this.
Definitely. Errol, how are you, my man? How you feeling?
Honestly, bro, I'm good. Yeah, man. Like it's as Saeed said, you guys have been buzzing all season, so it's not surprising that you've got a bit of a entry-level theme tune now, getting you all pumped up and gassed as we go into the back end of the season. It's starting to get to scary hours, though. I know we're all going to dive into it, but as I said in our other group chat before, I'm glad that my Liverpool team have been able to drag you into a bit of a dogfight because I couldn't let you just stroll past the line. It had to be hard fought. So anyone who gets it after this point is going to deserve it, but we can get into it and we can kind of dissect.
Definitely, and a great point as well. And look, just to make sure that everything's all right, we'll put Martin just above you in the middle, just so there's no issues between the Man United Liverpool sections. So we'll just keep it all in order for the show. But look, you've come to a good point, Errol, and we'll touch on it now. And look, it looked like it was plain sailing a few weeks ago. People were saying top 4 was done, wrapped up, done for the season. Man United, Newcastle, wherever we're going to finish 3rd or 4th between us, but it was done. It is not done. And look, more than anybody, and we'll talk about them now, is that Brighton have opened it right up. And the table looks like this as it stands. Brighton have got a couple games in hand or on Arsenal, but at that point, it doesn't really matter, but a game in hand on the rest of us. And, with a win on Thursday, I don't want to think about Brighton winning. But they go a point behind Liverpool and it opens it up. But I just want to get your thoughts, boys. Looking at that table right now, Saeed, I'll come to you first. Look at the performance from Brighton away at Arsenal today. Easily the better team, destroyed Arsenal. Are you worried? Are you worried they're coming?
I think for me, had they maybe won against Everton, I probably would have. But I think they might have left it a little bit too late. I think that result at Everton, for me, when you look at this result here, and it just shows you the beauty of the Premier League, that the fact that they lose, what was it, 5-1 or something like 6-1 against Everton, and then they beat Arsenal 3-0 convincingly. Like, not a look, like convincingly. They control most of the game. They were dominant in possession. Some of their performance, again, shining. And Ciso, Caicedo, McAllister, you kind of look at that result and you're thinking, if only. That's the only reason why I'm not looking at that. I know they've got a game in hand, but you still got to win that game in hand.
And it's against City. It's against City, bro, as well.
Exactly. And it's against City, who, for me, to be fair, they might not even get, like, to be fair, they might even beat Man City, because obviously Man City have got to play Chelsea, isn't it, before they play Brighton. I don't know if that correct. So if they win the next game, they've won the Premier League. So maybe they might not have the kind of ambition to win that game. So it might help them, but I still think that Man City should beat them. But I think, yeah, they've left it a little bit too late for me to worry about. If they get Europa League, man, that's an unbelievable season for Brighton. From where they were for the past how many seasons, flirting around mid-table, just below, underachieving really for me with the talent that they've got. And De Zerbi's a top manager. We played against him in the FA Cup, and I thought, for me, they were probably the better team in terms of actual playing football. They don't really finish off their chances. They could have scored more today if they had the shooting beats on. Still got a 3-0. But listen, man, they're a scary team. They're just slowly filtering. And I think, for me, Europa League this season, if they can get a couple of key signings in, keep the players that they can, obviously it's going to be difficult. I reckon they could go up and up and up. Honestly, like, people talk about Wolves, the Leicesters. These are going to be the new ones where they try and break into that top four and whatnot. So I'm not kind of worried about them. I'm more worried about Errol and Liverpool in a minute, if I'm being honest with you. But I think Brighton should be happy about their progress and where they've been, man. Phenomenal team. They're the benchmark in terms of recruiting talent on relatively low kind of fees and produce. As you see, so I never heard about this guy until the Chelsea game. I was like, who's this guy? And in the Chelsea game, he scored a worldie. I was like, yeah, let me look at the CISO right now. Because I was like, how did they get these players?
You've got a conveyor belt, bro. This is licked though differently. And just to jump on what you were saying there, Saeed, I think for the last couple of months when we've had conversations, I think, Pete, what I've been saying to you is, the players, can they stay together? Can that core group of players stay together, or will they get picked off? You know what? I'm starting to think even more now. It might not even be the players that we've got to worry about. It might be that manager. Or from a Brighton perspective, can they keep hold of their manager at the minute? Because a lot of teams around Europe, the big fish, will be looking at the job that he's done and been saying, yeah, I fancy a piece of that. You can come to us. This is the budget. This is the project. So that to me seems like you take out the king piece. And again, but then again, they did the exact same thing with Potter. We all thought Potter was going to be the kingmaker for them, and how would they fare without him? This next one's coming and done an even better job, which at the time you wouldn't have expected. So you don't know how it's going to go for Brighton over the next couple of weeks. But in terms of what I've wanted this Liverpool side to do, was to just be flawless. From when we started to get that little upturn in form, from the back of the Tottenham game and the game before that when we had played, when we drew with Arsenal, and from that point I was like, right, if we can just be flawless now and put the wins that we need together across the rest of the season, it means that Newcastle and Man U have got to be the best version of themselves if they want that top four spot. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I would never have said that Liverpool deserved to be in the conversation for top four. You've known how critical I've been of us at times this season, Pete. But I said, when it comes to the business end of the season and it's the results that matter, that's what people are going to look back on. It's not about how you start. It's not about the middle. It's about how you're going to finish. And unless you lads can finish perfectly now, this Liverpool team could steal a march on one of you. We've done it before. And I'm after your result yesterday, Pete, I thought it went your way in the end. You got lucky a little bit. You've rid your luck a little bit as well.
To be fair, you were quite silent in that 12-man chat. But I had, from when that first goal went in against Leeds, I had Tobes coming in and he was active. There was pops with the eye emojis, and I'm thinking, hold on a second, these guys were backing his logo. Looking,
the whole tear rapid.
What's Toby celebrating about though? What's Toby celebrating? He needs to worry about Aston Villa.
Hey, you know what I mean? Tuesday, they're all getting it. They're all getting it on Tuesday. I'm not leaving anyone behind. But there's some great points there. And look, I'm going to come to the Newcastle perspective. Mark, Brighton, they're our next three. They're the next three fixtures we need to be worried about from a Brighton perspective. But most importantly, that one at the top this Thursday at St James's Park. We have to be that team, don't we? That once they've got that great result against Arsenal, we're next in line. But then they've got an already relegated Southampton at home, and then it's that one at the last game of the season where they've got Man City that could already be champions. What are you thinking? Are you like the other boys that maybe it's just a step too far at Brighton, or are you thinking they could actually come and do the business?
Do you know? I think the lads make a really good point. Like, they're playing some really good football. Like Matoma down that left hand side worries me a little bit on Thursday night because he's just got pace to burn. But I think, look, I think on the game yesterday with Leeds, we didn't start great. We were sloppy with the pass and we didn't control the middle. We did everything that we didn't want to do at Leeds, which was get the crowd up for it. They scored first. We just struggled to get a grips with it. We got back in the game. Yeah, listen, we rode our luck with the penalty. Great save from Pope. But, Joe Linton should never really have been sticking the foot in where he was in the box. It was a little bit foolish. But Brighton could win those games. But the weird thing is, I think we'll give them a game on Thursday. And I think from their perspective, I've just got this funny little feeling that they might lose against Southampton because the shackles are off. Southampton are down. And you know what? Sometimes you see these games where a team's been relegated, like we did when we played Spurs that season after we got relegated and we beat Spurs 5-1 at home. So, funny things have happened. Southampton are, it's a derby, I suppose, from their perspective as well. Are they going to want to give their fans something, a little something to sing about? I think Saeed makes a good point. Listen, City could be resting players for Champions League and, for the cup final and different bits and pieces. But I think they've still got enough to beat City, even if they leave, a chunk of players out. But I think it'll be a good game on our turf on Thursday. But I think, Aaron makes a good point. I think we've got to be at our absolute best.
Can I ask you a question on that as well?
Yeah, of course you can, mate. Go on.
Is it a must win or is it a must not lose come Thursday? Because I feel like now I thought their game hand was City. I didn't realize it was used that he was playing on Thursday. So now that it is,
houses rearranged. Yeah. For me, I don't think it's. Look, I think I've been reading Twitter a lot since I came back on because I've been banned for the last couple of days.
Been on a naughty step.
I made a rather unruly comment about a referee and got banned. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go, Brett. Yeah, and do you know what it is? Unlike me, there actually wasn't even any expletives in it. I just I made a comment, and for whatever reason, it was deemed as wasn't good enough by Mr. Musk. But anyway, I think if you take it from a Newcastle look, maybe Pete and Chris will say otherwise. We've kind of gone from worrying about being relegated to worrying about whether we're going to finish top 4. But for me, I think you've got to take a little step back from that. Is it a must-win game? Yes and no. But for me, whatever happens, we're already guaranteed top 6. We've had an amazing season from where we were. So either way, we've got European football. Would we love to go that final step and have Champions League? Absolutely, because it gives us a window to attract a different type of player. It opens up a different revenue stream. So there's all these commercial reasons as to why you would want that extra step. But if we don't get it, has it been a successful season? Absolutely. It's been a fucking amazing season.
That's not the question. And to be honest, I'm going to pull you back on that because that's not the question.
Is it a must-win? For me, no. How am I going to duck it?
I'm not letting any fans off the hook, including myself. If we don't get it, I expect everyone to come for me as well.
Is it a must-win? For me, no. To answer your question, Errol, no. It's for me, it's not a must-win because I think we still got enough to beat Leicester and beat Chelsea.
Chris, what are your thoughts on that? Is it a must-win? Like, we're going to talk about it in away days on Tuesday in a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
From your perspective, Thursday, having seen what you saw today, the boys have given different perspectives. Saeed's gone, a little bit too late, which I'm inclined to agree with regards to Brighton. But, with the way in which they played, how are you finding this Thursday? Does it make it even more important for Newcastle? Are we going to be like this watching the game on Thursday, or are we going to be confident and thinking, we've got enough to do this?
Do you know what? I'm split because, Errol's proper going at it now. When he was saying, "Is it must win?" Like for me, it is must win. Like we've got to win. Yeah, I take Martin's point, and when we look back at the end of the season, if we don't get top 4, it's like, we've had a good season. But I said to you the other day, didn't I? Like for me, if we don't get Champions League football this season, I'm disappointed, and I think it's been a disappointment. And I know that sounds mad, and if you'd asked me that at the start of the season, I wouldn't have been saying that. But the position that we're in, and the fact that it's in our hands, the only thing that's worrying me now is obviously we saw the way Everton tore Brighton apart at Brighton, and now that Brighton are away, they're coming to our place on Thursday. I'm just a bit nervous over it because I feel like the shackles are off and they've had that fantastic win again today away from home. So yeah, I am a little bit nervous. And did I not say to you, Pete, a few months ago even, Liverpool weren't out of it. Because living here in Liverpool, I've seen what they're capable of doing.
They're
And
always gonna come good.
we had a chat about it, didn't we? And we were saying offline, like, "Oh, it'll be all right, it'll be okay." And you calmed me down, Pete. And now we're getting at the business end. I'm starting to see it again. It's like a resurgence, and I just want to get over the line because, like, honestly, if we don't get top 4 this season, it's a disaster. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know we'll be back, and I know we're in a much better place than what we were, but are we gonna get a better chance to finish top 4? Like,
Chris, it's because you've
That's the
smelled
point,
it,
isn't it?
you tasted it.
Yeah.
Like
You kind
because
of had
you-
your hands on it.
Yeah, we've been kind of 1 foot in the door for the majority of the season, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Go on, Saeed.
Have you ever been out of the top 4? How long have you not been out? Like,
We've been 5th. We've been 5th for a
Yeah,
period.
How long?
Couple of games, not many.
After the Carabao Cup, we dropped out. I think Tottenham went in for a few weeks.
yeah, Tottenham.
And then we flipped it around again in April, and then we've been in ever since. So we have
had a few games, didn't we, Pete? Because Tottenham, we had a few games postponed, due to a few different things. And Tottenham had like 2 games in hand on us, didn't they? So Tottenham was sitting in them top 4 positions. So I think that's mainly why. Just to add in as well, when we were talking before about City, I was looking at the fixtures then, and City have got their next game's a home game against Chelsea, isn't it? And then the 2 after that are away. So I reckon they're going to want to, like Saeed said, sew the title up before the Champions League, and also they're going to want to win it in front of their own fans, aren't they? And then the last 2, they don't, they're not bothered.
You might even lift the title on Sunday if they win it, because that's
exactly
they get to.
So that's up then, isn't it? Yeah,
that's it. And go back to your point. For me, my little 2 pence is that we've had a taste of it now, and everything you've said is everything Martin said. I agree with as well. We've had a great season. We should be proud of what we've achieved, but because we've had a taste of it, and we think that we're so close to being there. Look, with 3 games to go, we're still sitting in 3rd. We're still sitting in 3rd, albeit goal difference, but we're still there. But to lose it now with 3 games to go would be a bitter pill to swallow. It would be, with everything that we've potentially got planned in the summer and moving forward. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would be a disappointment, that's for sure. I'm going to steal the chat just for 1 second because we've got 120 plus in the chat. Thank you all for joining us. If you haven't already, click the like button right now and click subscribe. And if you haven't, click the notification bell, click that now, because that allows you to be notified whenever a Loaded Mag NUFC show is available. And look, I had to put that on the screen. Sorry, Marlon, you're not part of this conversation because you're in the Europa Conference conversation at this moment in time. And, we'll be chatting again next season.
That's what I heard.
Look, we'll all love Marlon. He's a great guy and he's been a great guest on Away Day, so fair play to him. Look, let's not beat around the bush. Let's switch tact and let's go and talk about which team are we going to? Let's go and talk about Manchester United. Let's talk about your boy Saeed. Okay, what are your thoughts, feelings going into the last 3 games in the season? You are currently sitting 4th in the table, joint with Newcastle in 3rd, albeit goal difference is separated. You got the big win against Wolves at the weekend. Do you think you've got enough to hold off the Liverpool and Brighton press right now?
I think for me, like I said, with Brighton, I think they've probably left it too late. Liverpool, I'm guaranteed and I'm confident they're going to win all their 3 games. I don't know if Errol thinks differently, and obviously you'll hear his opinion, but I know Liverpool will win their 3 games. They've won 6 on the bounce. They're on a roll. They do it all the time. They could go on a 10, 12.
Look at Errol's smile. Look at him.
Hey, he's not spitting nothing that we don't already know. He's spitting
That's
fast.
what I'm saying. So for me, it's in our hands. I know that word is not great around at football nowadays. It's in your hands and whatnot, but ultimately it's in our hands. I think the Bournemouth game is key for me because we're rubbish away from home. We've got them this Saturday. I don't know if they're mathematically safe yet. I don't know if I need to obviously check the table one more. But if they're still kind of phase around them this season, I think they won on the weekend, didn't they, as well? So
Yeah.
Bournemouth for safe, man. Bournemouth for safe.
Bournemouth for safe. So, but there you go. So maybe that might help us a little bit. But they might want to win and go out in style. They might want to finish above, certain teams there. There's Chelsea down the bottom who, I don't know where they are. Like, I had to keep on checking every week where they are in the league, but they might want to finish as high as we can. Our way form is horrendous. So for me, we lose that Bournemouth game. It's then a different kind of mentality to then must win at Chelsea, must win at Fulham. Hopefully we win against Bournemouth, and then you kind of say to yourself, 2 home games. You know what you're about at home. We've got 1 loss all season at home all season. That was against Brighton at the start of the season when Ten Hag was kind of tinkering with his team. It all comes down to that Bournemouth game. Chelsea, for me, I'm confident about them. I think for me, you've seen them this season very poor. And Fulham, you'd like to think at the end of the season they've got the flip flops out. They're on the beaches. You'd expect to beat them. So it kind of boils down to that game, really. That Bournemouth game.
Sorry, Saeed. I'm going to throw that Fulham game back at you because they've got revenge on their minds after the FA Cup game, man.
True.
He's back and he's back in business. He scored at the weekend. He's now back playing. Are you not worried about that? That they're going to come, with the violence on the last game?
They could as well. Obviously, they got the motivation. You know what I mean? That game, by the way, that was one of the craziest games I've ever seen, like live. Like, it was just madness. I couldn't keep up with the red cards. I was like, what's going on here? Then 3 all of a sudden get red carded in the space of a minute. So that is possible. But for me, like I said to you, I just think it's about momentum. Like, we won yesterday and it was a very, very big struggle. We didn't take our chances, and I think Wolves were very, very poor in their sense. But again, it's the ability. You have to score. You have to take advantage. You put them to the sword. You make them. Man City do it every week. Look at Man City today. Like, they're not great. All of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, bang, it's a goal. So I just feel like you've got to put the nail in the coffin in this top 4. Liverpool are going to do their business. It's what United do. This top 4 race is basically United and what Newcastle do. Newcastle go and win their games. It's job done, or at least
irrelevant. What we do is irrelevant.
Exactly, it's irrelevant. So, and as much as we can talk about Liverpool chasing us, we do our job, and it should have been like that for how many games? We were 13 points, I think, at one point ahead of Liverpool. They should not have been in it. I was telling Chris Card and everyone like,
you sweat. I just love watching you sweat.
That's what I'm saying. But then I'm going to say to you, Errol, we made you feel like it was possible to the last minute, and we've got to make you feel like it's what a season it's been like. Nothing really. You're in the Europa League, and like I said to you, you never know how the situation was with your players and your manager and whatnot. So I feel like for me, ultimately, it's the least we could do this year was get top 4 and pick up 1 trophy. That's basic for Man United, to pick up a trophy and get minimum top 4. So we've made a fool out of it. I'm not going to celebrate. I'm not going to champion it. But I think for me, we'll just have enough. But again, that Bournemouth game, if we lose that game, all of a sudden it's twitchy. It's getting very, very... Because then you must against Chelsea when the whole world's watching you on a Thursday night. You know what I mean? It's like they could get a draw. They could get something. That's when the mentality is different. If you come into it feeling a bit pessimistic about it. So, yeah, man, it's mad. It's mad.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I'll throw it out there. Errol, from your perspective, do you believe there's anywhere that Man United are going to drop points?
Well, first and foremost, Bournemouth there is the away game, so that's the obvious one because their away form from a Man U's perspective has been pretty lackluster for most of the season, but that's coming from a Liverpool fan who understands our away form has been piss poor as well. So I know what it's like when you rock up to these grounds at teams where you would historically just think it's a W, and you come away and you're coming away red-faced and you're feeling a little bit embarrassed. I think with the injuries that Man U have got at the moment as well, they really have to be cautious about how they go into that 3 o'clock fixture. But then, in seasons gone past, you'd think of the Chelsea team to really put up a fight. Chelsea are now safe. We've seen Lewis shouting about getting to 40 points for the best part of nearly 4 months. They finally got there the other day, so they're actually not. They're looking forward to next season now. They're on the beach. They're not arsed. They know there's going to be a lot of change. There's talk of Pochettino going to Chelsea and all sorts. So I don't really think their mindset is necessarily about throwing a spanner in the works for anybody, to be completely honest with you at this moment in time. I genuinely felt that Man U's home form in the last 3, I think he's had 4 games when we last spoke, Pete, and it was 3 games from home. I thought their home form, that's the 9 points that they need to put to get over the line in terms of top 4. I think from my perspective as a Liverpool fan, it would be bittersweet after all of this season. The low-hanging fruit from a Liverpool fan is to pip Man U to the Champions League for the following season. That's all I've got to reach for right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can appreciate beating a Newcastle because of how good you have been as a team, but I feel like you've been value for money, and
that's
not
fair.
To say that, man, you haven't, but you're never going to get them props and those flowers from me. Do you know what I mean? You could have been the
it's expected, though. It's expected.
Exactly.
Expected.
That's just the vibe. So I'd feel no way of taking your place, but I would feel a little bit of a way for Newcastle. But I think from a Newcastle's perspective, this season's going to be a learning season anyway, learning how to put these results in the way that you need to put the results on and the runs of games you've got to go on. So my eye is cast firmly on Man U. And I think if it was, so I saw you said before about Brighton, say for example, now it was Brighton and it was either Spurs or Aston Villa sitting where Liverpool is sitting, I think Man U feel job's done. The fact that Liverpool are breathing down the necks and the fact that it's us, the fact that their players know we're capable of winning every single game between now and the end of the season, if we put that work in, that to me is going to be the psychological edge or the psychological thread that's going to unravel this Man U team if they fall out of top 4, because it's us. And I think that's what's done us with City at times. I think that's what's done Arsenal this season, knowing that City can just go on these incredible runs. As soon as that thread starts to get pulled and it all becomes to unravel, you've seen it in the way that as Xhaka exploded on the pitch at Anfield, from there, Arsenal have never looked the same again, and look what's going on now. So these moments happen in the season, as you say. That's why people love the Premier League so much. So I think if Man U and Newcastle would have done their job 4 or 5 weeks ago, would have just put 2-3 more wins in place, it would have been a completely different conversation here this evening. But you've left the door open. So if you've left the door open for Man, I'm going to come in and see what snacks you've got. I'm comfortable there.
You know what it is, though? It's like I said to you, the Premier League, naturally you're thinking, right, Newcastle do their job, Man United do their job. There's no point of it. But this is the Premier League. You just don't know what happens. Like, you generally like that. And this is why you've got to look at every game, I think, take it seriously from the minute get-go. Just take it seriously. That's minute
there is. Fault this season. We haven't. Most of our games, early part of the season, because of the high we went on last season and feeling like a clocked footy, we went into the early part of the season with this. I've called it out. I've said it's arrogance. There's been arrogance from a number of players within the squad that just feel like turning up and putting the kit on is enough to get 3 points. And the Premier League and our football will humble you real quick. And before you knew it, it's a great comment. Before you knew it, we wasn't in a title race. So all of a sudden, people are like, "Well, where Liverpool going to finish?" The only thing that I've said about Liverpool all season is I've knew from around October that we wasn't going to win the league. So from my perspective, it was all about finishing in top 4. We had enough months from October till May to actually put together enough run of form to solidify us in top 4. So I'll still be massively disappointed if we don't get that. But there have been times this season when I just don't think we've been good enough, and we might end up paying the ultimate price for that as well. Got to be prepared for it.
I think that point about the whole turning up and just expecting was exactly what we seen today with the Brighton Arsenal game. Arsenal turned up at the Emirates and just thought, it's 3 points in the bag, and they were made fools of. So I think all the 3 teams, I think Man U, I think Newcastle, Liverpool, we've all got to be on our game for these next 3, because whoever drops it is the one that drops out.
Last man shootout. But that's why I love the where we're at now. It's a precarious position for all 3 of our clubs, because up until now, apart from Newcastle, I'd say you've been good value for money. Like any other season, the results and the way that you've played would be worthy of a top 4. The fact that you've left yourself in this little bit of a limbo, and I say you're probably a little bit ahead of where your project is, so there'll be mixtures in the fan base of whether it's been a good season or a bad season. Not necessarily a bad season, but if it's been indifferent and did we shoot ourselves in the foot, those conversations will be had, of course. That's just the nature of football. But to be where we are now and to have been dragged to this point, I just think it's really interesting that now it's about to show you what your minerals are. Have this Newcastle squad got, and you'll get massive props from me and a lot of other fan bases if you have got the minerals, because we've seen Leicester do it 2 seasons on the bounce. 2 seasons on the bounce, sitting pretty for a long time, sitting pretty, just, and then it all just wilted away. We've seen Arsenal do it. Arsenal did it last season. All they had to do was go up to your place and get a result. Couldn't do it. We've seen Man U miss out in recent seasons.
The good thing about Newcastle, though, is they've got the money and they've got the financial stability when Leicester don't, and teams like Tottenham might not.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. And I think that's that difference of whether we've a good season or not a good season. Whatever happens, it's a good season. But the thing for me is, as Pete makes a point, we've kind of got our hands on that Cup of Champions League, and now you really want it. But if we don't, there might be for a couple of days disappointment. Then you're going, oh, we're still in Europe. We're in a we can't finish no lower than 6. Hopefully, as Saeed said, we go again, we invest 2 or 3 more players, and we go again. So, at least for me, it's always been that longer term picture. But to get to it so quick, I think has been probably a shock to a lot of us as well as to how well we've done this season. Because, I think when we came on, start the season, we're going, a top 8 and a good cup run will be top notch for us. But here we are. So look, we may as well go out all guns blazing and try and get it, as opposed to sit back and wilt. So I just hope the 3 games we've got, that we go out and we give it our all.
Do you know what? Oh, sorry. I was just going to add in, Pete. Do you know what I think it is? I think if we were in Liverpool's position now, with 3 games to go, and we didn't quite make it, and we ended up with the Europa League, I think we'd all be happy. I think it's just the fact that was said earlier. I think it was Adel who said it. We've been in those top 4 positions for quite a lot of the season, and
they're right now.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. And it's funny because I kind of dismiss Man United from this conversation, which is a bit odd, because I see it as a straight shootout between Liverpool and Newcastle. I think Man United get.
All my friends do as well. My group chats have been the same, and I'm thinking, I'm dragging any chance I get. I'm dragging you into the.
Everyone. Yeah, you'd rather drag both than think one.
Yeah.
Drag both.
It's a great point though, Chris, because I'm the same. I don't like it. It sounds weird, but I don't kind of factor, because Man United have been there the whole season and they know how to get there. They've been there. They've done it before.
Yeah. I think it's having those home games as well. For me, I'm not looking at them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because they've got those games at home, and you're kind of going, definite bankers. Okay, the Bournemouth one's a bit twitchy, but I think, I think they'll have enough on that.
Yeah.
But Liverpool are just in that vein where they're just knocking out scruffy little fucking 1-0s. You're kind of going, oh man. You look at the penalty they got at Fulham, with Darwin going over, you're going, oh, give me strength, man. What's going on?
No, I've been saying, and this is the worst thing, I've been saying it all season, that Liverpool and City, and again, to be fair, Man U nearly went and done it early part of the season as well, put 10 unbeaten on the board. And I said, until I see another team, credit Arsenal have stepped up this season and been able to do it. It might not count for as much as they wanted to, but until I've seen teams be able to do that, I'm only going to speak about the teams that I know are capable of doing it. And up until the start of the season, it was Liverpool and it was City. So I knew that Liverpool have had what it takes to be able to do that. I've just wanted to see it as a Liverpool fan earlier than this. I wanted to see it so we was out clear, and Newcastle or Man U were looking at us thinking, can we actually catch them now? Because they'll still go on to win every game if they need to. But we've had to do it this way, and I genuinely think we've probably left it too late. However, I expect us to be perfect, and if we're perfect, that means you lads around this panel have to be perfect. And if for any reason one of you aren't, we'll be first in there to just claim the rewards, and I'll be shameless and I will take it. I swear, we don't deserve it.
It's like when you have a group presentation and there's always one person who doesn't
doesn't contribute, doesn't do nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't contribute, and all of a sudden he gets all the grades. So that might be Liverpool now.
You're not wrong. And N9NE has made a good point as well. He said we went unbeaten for 17. To be fair, went on a run where we were unbeaten for that long period of time. We have put runs of 6 wins together, 5 wins here, 3 wins there. So we have done it in patches.
8 out of the last 10 for us as well, by the way.
There you go. But Chris, I'll come to you because as my internet was playing up, I don't know if we came to the fixtures for Liverpool. Are there any in there that you think they could slip up here? Like, because everyone's coming with so much confidence right now. They're going to get 9 points from these, and they're going to get the 71 benchmark. Is there any in there that you're thinking, that's not a dead set in terms of 3 points?
Do you know what? I suppose the only one which I'd say, you'd think is dead set is probably the Southampton game, because I think they'll just piece it out now. But it's funny, when I've been speaking to me red mates, they've all been talking about the Villa game. So I'm hoping there's a little bit of complacency for the game tomorrow. I'm sure Evan will tell me that there won't be, but I just hope there'll be a little bit of complacency. Going away from home. Someone in the chat put earlier, Leicester, if Leicester realistically want to stay up this season, they've got to be looking at that Liverpool game. And we all know this season, Liverpool have gone on this fantastic run, and they've been, winning games and getting the results. But as I'm sure Ed will admit, they've not been playing, fantastically well. They've been doing enough, and that's always the sign of a good team. When you go in, you get your 3 points and you go home. But I don't know. You wonder when something's going to click. I mean, Dean Smith's come in with Leicester, with John Terry and Craig Shakespeare, and it's not quite happened for them. And they've not had that big win, that critical win. We were talking about it before. I think it was Saeed saying, teams have had their critical wins, and Leicester have yet to have that critical win. And we know that the blue neighbours down the road, Adel, they're all panicking. They know that this game is critical. They'll all want you to win, and I just wonder if Leicester are going to pull something out the bag, or even a draw at this stage.
I think for me, I think Liverpool will beat Leicester. But I'm looking at that Villa game, and I'm going, do you know what? If the Villa turned up, who turned us over 3-0 and played ball like they did, I think they give Liverpool a really good game. Unai Emery's got them ticking. They're playing good ball. Ollie Watkins is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
They need
that's a tougher game. That's a tougher game than I think a lot are looking at. It's a tough game. I know Liverpool are at home, so I think they've maybe got the slight edge. But that's a tough game, man. That's a tough game.
You were saying before, like, your away form's not been brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a bit more pressure on the home game against Villa in terms of the expectancy? You've got to keep them wins going, especially if Newcastle beat Brighton.
Well, that's it, mate. Like, if we go and do the job tomorrow, because our away form has been woeful all season, that away kit just needs to get through in the bin. To be honest with you, it's brought us nothing but luck. But once we, in the event that we get past Leicester and just get the point, because they've not been playing well. Leicester have been a bit of a thorn in our side in recent years when we've had to go down to the King Power. They pulled out some plucky results. They've got some good wins against us in the past as well. So I'm not overlooking them. But I think at this moment in time, I think our eye is firmly fixed on that 71 points. And it does. I think at this point now, if we had to play, and I know it sounds mad and the chat might roast me for this, but if we had to play Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham again as the last three, given the runs we've just had, I think we'd go and still get 9 points. And it's because the point that you was making there, Chris, in the sense that it's not about how well we're performing, but it's about doing enough to get the results. And I think there's just something in this side now, and I don't know where it's come from, to be honest with you. And it's a bit of a shame, as I keep saying, after refer to it, it's a shame that's come so late in the season when we're really just clinging on at this point. But I think with the Leicester game, I think it'll be a good opportunity for us to do that. And then at home, I think there's that expectation. That is the one that most of Liverpool fans have been circling, as if to say, that's our last tricky game, really. Aston Villa, the way that they've been playing under Unai Emery, the way that they can turn up, the threats that they've got within their squad, that's one where it's not necessarily a banana skin, but they'll go for it. Do you know what I mean? They'll go toe-to-toe with you. I think the problem with the team going toe-to-toe with Liverpool at the moment is no one's been able to do it for a number of weeks now and get the better of us. If you went toe-to-toe with us, you've quite quickly got a bloody nose. I think there's, even look at Tottenham, Spurs, they look dead and buried. They decided to pluck up and book up their ideas, and we still said no in the 94th minute. I think, as you said before, about critical wins, I think at that junction there, I think that's when the team said, we're not finishing the season without 71 points. It doesn't matter who you throw at us between now and the end of the season. And I could be wrong. They could go tomorrow and drop an absolute clanger and think, no one done us any favours on the weekend. But having watched Newcastle perform, haven't watched Man U perform. Liverpool have got to perform tomorrow. So this weekend's left us in the same situation as it did on Friday night. Friday night, we was going into the weekend thinking we've got to win on Monday, no matter what the results are. The same situation, the same boat. So as long as that happens, and as long as we perform against, we'll take it one game at a time. Beat Leicester, the pressure goes back the other way. The pendulum swings back to the other teams. And can you hold your nerve? Can you hold your water? And that, as long as we can keep that ebb and flow until it has to be to the last game of the season, so be it. But if not, as I said, we'll sneak in through the back door. Thank you.
Pete,
Yeah,
just to add in, have we got the league table, but like slightly lower? I mean, I never thought I'd ever say that being a Newcastle fan, but have we got the, like the, I don't know, 5th to 9th? How much are Villa needing those 3 points?
Yeah, they're in a dogfight. They're in a dogfight right now. They are currently level on 57. I haven't got it up now because I'll be honest, he's the only teams I care about.
They're level.
We're too high, aren't we?
They're on 57 points with Spurs. We've got 2 games left.
Those on the screen were the only teams that I cared about at this point in time, which is why I put them on there. However, yeah, you're absolutely right, Errol. They are a level with Spurs on 57, but I believe that Spurs have got a better goal difference, which is why
we have 65, a much better goal difference, and much better. Brentford won't catch them now either. So they are fighting for that Conference League spot now. There's a conversation to be had. Will Spurs just gift them it anyway? If Spurs are fighting for something, it's in their nature to just bottle it. Doesn't matter whether that's a Champions League final or a
they want to bottle this. There's any time to bottle it. They want to bottle this.
The irony of it, the irony of the one time you want to bottle something, they'll go into 7.
Seriously.
But look, you talked about something, and you talked about holding our nerves. And if Liverpool are going to put that pressure on, it's about us and whether we're going to do the job. I'm going to throw it out there. Leicester at the moment, although they can't defend to save their lives, they are scoring goals. They're looking more of a threat in attacking areas at home. Chris, Saeed have both said Leicester haven't had their moment yet. Could tomorrow be that moment where they pull out a result that nobody expects them to, that brings them out of the bottom 3? Equally, you boys have talked about Aston Villa. Aston Villa, I actually thought Brentford would be a tough game for you, and at times it was. I think Villa's a tougher game for you. And I genuinely think that could be the game in which you potentially drop points out of the 2.
And I'm not confident just based on performances. Don't get it twisted. The performances are not what's giving me any real confidence right now. It's more a case of a necessity that this Liverpool team know that they owe the fans something, and the only thing that they can do, whether they get top 4 or not at this point, is irrelevant. The only thing that they can do is secure 71 points. That's in their hands. And then what will be. And I think Klopp's always done a really good job of instilling that type of mentality in them at times, where sometimes you've got to forget the noise and everything else that's going on around you, and you've just got to focus on your job. If you do your job to the best of the ability, all of the other stars will align where they're supposed to align. And I know that sounds a little bit cosmic and hairy-fairy, but it's what's been proven over the seasons to have helped us get to where we've got to and help us achieve things. And we've got to start, we've had to reprogram a level of that to us, even if it has come late in the season. At the end of the day, we've had to do it. And in recent weeks now, I think there's a genuine belief that it might not be the performances. I think the change in our system as well, the way that they're utilising Trent in a bit more of a...
Curtis Jones as well. He's big quality, Curtis Jones.
He has. And a lot of Liverpool fans have been really critical of him, but he has really stepped up in recent weeks. He's doing well on that left-hand side. So there's a lot of positives to take away, even if the performances aren't naturally there. We've got, apart from Bobby, we've got Jota scoring goals. We've got Diaz back now, fit, who's a threat. Salah's still on an amazing goal-scoring run as well at the moment. You think he scored 9 and 9 or something like that, 8 in his last 8 home games. There are signs to say that, we've got one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in the world, saving us still this late in the season. So there are individual moments now. It's just, can the team come together in the last 3 games and do enough? And I think as a team, we've got that, and they've shown they've got that. I'll still be disappointed if we don't get top 4 this season, but I can't moan too much because I still haven't felt we've deserved it and warranted it. But when you can sneak in.
Someone
I
asked
think
me.
your disappointment from ages ago. You know what I mean? I don't think the disappointment is
It's
now.
not as bad now. Yeah, it's not as bad. I'm
Yeah.
used to it now. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Someone asked me the other day, would I take Lucas Moura on a free transfer in the summer? And I said, hell no. For two reasons: the guy's shit, and for the second reason, fucking back pass at Anfield to gift you the goal when he just worked it back to 3-3. Honestly, in the the Akenside pub in on the quayside at Newcastle, just went down when that ball went into the net. It was like, what are you doing?
That was scenes. That was scenes.
Yeah,
that was the craziest game because we came out of St James's. We literally walked a half a mile down the road. We got to the front of the pub and you saw 3-0 up. We were like, "What the fuck is going on here? What is going on?"
This season, the beautiful thing about that was obviously we all do this, so we all know how ruthless the internet can be. The internet is very unforgiving at times.
I know that.
I know you know that.
I definitely know that one.
The internet can be a cruel place and it can be a lonely place when you're getting clipped. And boy, I know for a fact, I'm fair. The edits are probably still in somebody's drafts of us getting clipped up on the Redmen because we're doing a live, and I'm seething at, like, you can probably see the steam coming out of my ears. I am absolutely fuming at the 3-3 because I've seen it. I'm already writing the script about what's gonna, because you just don't want to be a jinx and you don't want to be that guy. I'm biting my lip. So to go from knowing I was about to be clipped in the worst possible way, then it all just being rescued, and then there's nothing, we don't get clipped anywhere. I'm absolutely made up. I'd rather it be that way. It was such a topsy-turvy game. It was incredible.
Chris has found the league table lower down, and it is as we said, Villa and Spurs fighting it out there. Brighton are ahead, couple of games in hand. It looks like Brighton are going to finish in at least that sixth spot with a couple of games in hand. Although we hope that one of those games in hand is a defeat when they come to St James's Park on Thursday. That's for sure. But at this point now, although they could still catch them, it doesn't look like that Brentford would catch that kind of trailing end of those teams. But look, again, I'll come back to it in just a second, but massive thanks to everyone in the chat for your comments. The super stickers and the super chats are open, and thank you very much for Rich for putting in $4.99 super sticker. I appreciate that. If you want your super chats to be put in and you want to get your questions in for these boys before we wrap up, please do, and we'll prioritize those comments and questions. So if you've got an opportunity, put them in. And it brings me nicely to Newcastle United. So from your perspective, guys, what are you thinking with regards to whether we're whether we're going to slip up? You look at I've got the wrong fixtures there. You look at our fixtures: Brighton Thursday, Leicester on the Monday, at Stamford Bridge, last game of the season. We are third in the league, 66 points, level with Man United, albeit goal difference. I think we're 5-7 difference in goals. 7, I think.
That's like a point. That.
Yeah, between us and Liverpool. Look, Saeed, I'll come to you. What are your thoughts about Newcastle?
I think, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was surprised. I was at the ground and I was looking at the game and the result, and then I turned it off. I was like, "Yeah, listen, Newcastle will find a goal." And then I found out you drew, and I was like, "Okay." But to be fair, Leeds are fighting for their lives. That kind of results are natural, as much as it sounds crazy. Leeds are fighting for their lives, so. I thought that was key, but your goal difference is the point. That's because our goal difference is very, very bad at the minute. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I just don't see Newcastle bottling this. I wouldn't say the word bottle is going to be in the context of Newcastle, but I don't think they're going to drop out this top four. I generally think it's between Man United and Liverpool. I think you guys will do enough to get there. I think one thing you guys have is you've got goal scorers in Callum Wilson and Isak. We haven't got that. We're scoring one goal a game. You guys are scoring more than one goal a game. I think for me, defensively, he's still, intact, especially away from home as well. You've got a manager who's got a firm belief and a firm ideology in your team. I just don't see that capitulation towards the end of the season. You might lose, like I said, to Brighton and maybe, something, but I think Chelsea you'll beat. And who's the other game that you said as well?
Leicester.
Chelsea
at home
on the Monday.
Yeah, come on, man, Leicester at home, they could be relegated by then. So I think for me, you've got this locked in. I think where it's coming from, the nerves, is that it's so close that you don't want to mess it up. I think that's, and also you've not been in a situation before, Newcastle, since when? I think back in the early 2000s when you're in the top four.
03, 04, I think was the last time.
20 years. 20 years the last time we finished in the top
20
four.
years, yeah. So it's one of them feelings of, you know what? Like you're thinking, it's there. I just don't want to miss it. And a Europa League wouldn't be kind of great, would it? You know, knowing that you could have got the creme de la creme. I think Newcastle are fine. I think they've got the fundamentals. Man United away from home, not great. Man United not scoring goals. Newcastle are. Newcastle don't capitulate. United do. Liverpool, on the other hand, are having to win all their games to stand any chance. Newcastle are in a perfect kind of kind of situation, if I call it. They're going to be, this is in their own hands. And also, I just think the mindset is different. You're going to win. You're going to win. You know what I mean? Whereas I'm like, I'm not sure about Bournemouth. You know, if that game doesn't go well, then the Chelsea game, I've got a different kind of mentality. I think with Newcastle, it's still positive. It's still like, you know, there's not a lot to lose, even though you're kind of having a great season as well. So I think for me, man, I would be still confident as a Newcastle fan. I think there should be an optimistic feeling around Newcastle, you know, 100% for that, my opinion.
I know I asked you before, was it a must win? But where is the wiggle room in your last 3 games for you then, lads?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is.
Because you don't have to be flawless, because I think he's a 4 points ahead of us. So where is the wiggle room? You need 5 points. If you did it with 5 points, you're still probably going to better us on goal difference. As Saeed said, that is a point in itself. So if we could all finish on 71 points. Or ideally, I don't think Saeed can afford to finish on 71 points, really. I think Saeed would have to overtake Newcastle with 72 points, and then it'd have to be us and Newcastle on 71. But in the event that does happen, where's the wiggle room for you lads, do you think?
I mean, me personally, I don't want to have anything on the last game of the season. I don't want to have to rely on anything for that last game of the season. I've been saying for the last few weeks, every time, you know, that Chelsea team gets put out, you just think it's going to click sooner or later. I know they've been horrendous. I know Frank Lampard's not great, but when you've got players of that individual quality, one day they're just going to click and they're just going to wipe the floor with someone. And going to Stamford Bridge last game of the season, Poch will probably be in attendance. I just don't like that game. I don't want to have to go to Stamford Bridge hoping to get something. I want it wrapped up. I don't know about Pete and Mart, but I want it wrapped up before then. So for me, to answer your question, Errol, I'd say the wiggle room probably was Leeds, because we've said for a while we only need 7 points. We've got our point. So now it's about getting those 2 home wins. I just don't want to leave it till Chelsea.
Jonathan's put on the screen, draw against Brighton, a win against Leicester, and a draw against Chelsea would get us the points that gets us there. Mark, would you agree with that? Would you see that as the potential for our last 3 games, or do you see it slightly differently?
Do you know what? I think I just sat here, I was listening to Aaron and going, yeah, where is the wiggle room? But you know, if you put that up there now and said to me, that's what we got over the next 3, I'd snap your hand off and I'd take that 5 right now.
I think
the fact we've got 2 home games, I think is a massive difference. But having said that, we went to the Southampton game, lads. The 5 of us, we went there. All the loaded lads went to the game. We were shit the first half. We couldn't string a pass. My biggest concern at the minute, well, two little bits really, which is we have absolutely massively, and I never thought I would say this, we have massively missed Longstaff not being in that middle of the park, just to cement down the ball, break up the ball, keep us compact. And I think Bruno is definitely playing through an injury, which we know, and he's just not firing fully at the minute. So I think
he's not been the same for a while, I think.
No. And then to be fair to Leeds, listen, they came out and they kicked him to pieces in the first 40 minutes of the game. And they kicked into a lot of other players, to be fair. But I just think we've got 2 home games. It is now or never. But I think I just have a funny feeling. I think that's the way these next 3 are going to go. I think it'll be a draw against Brighton. I think we beat Leicester. And then I think we either get a draw or we win against Chelsea. I actually don't fear Chelsea. I think winning at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, I actually think we're more than capable of that if we turn up.
Yeah,
but I think the Brighton game is a tough game for me, especially watching today. They're playing good ball, they're scoring goals. Matoma with his pace. The only thing is the lad Seso, who's hobbled off today, just kind of hoping, okay, maybe he might be out, but they've got what 4 or 5 days to recover before the game. But yeah, look, we're still in a great position. I know Errol's saying, you want it now and you take it. Listen, if we're finishing top 5, top 6, top 3, top 4, it's an amazing season for us, and we go again. I think the big thing, and Pete,
user on a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've chatted about this, Errol, when we were over the other weekend, and we said, we are probably 18 months ahead of where we thought we would be. And that's an absolutely fair comment. The other thing for me is, if we get the Champions League, as we start to build on the squad, playing every Thursday and Sunday or playing Europa, you can attract a different caliber of player. I'm not saying I don't want Champions League, but there's a part of me kind of going, maybe just for next season, Europa might suit us better because it gives us a chance. No, absolutely. No, I get it. I totally get it. But I suppose I'm looking at it from all angles, lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And looking at where that build is and that continuation, Saeed, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think ultimately it's gonna be a struggle. I think it's a struggle for most teams. Look at Arsenal. They've not done well in the Champions League for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? They're getting smacked up every week. We've not done well in recent years. I think the Champions League, honestly, it's difficult. Once you get through that first group stage, I think everything else is a bonus for Newcastle. If they have a good draw, then you never know. But I just think, for me, enjoy it, man. Like, I've heard Europa League theme tune, and you don't want to hear it. Trust me, it's not great. You want to be hearing the champion. Like, honestly, like, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and listen, absolutely, listen. Any Newcastle fan to take it, but I think there's a let's go and get the Holy Grail now. But then there's the sensible part of me that's going, listen, we're ahead of where we are. European football, black and white, traveling back to Italy, wherever we happen to go. It's a win-win situation, really, for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't lose. Like, the pressure really is on Liverpool and Manchester.
Absolutely.
The thing for me is, and this is why I've said to Pete a couple of times, you're playing with the big boys now. You've been up at this altitude in the league, in the positions, and you might start to get a nosebleed. So you need to adjust to those heights, and you need to adjust to the lack of oxygen up here, and that's the difference. And the sooner as a team, and that's why maybe getting into the Champions League, the sooner that you get acclimatized to being in those settings, the imposter syndrome fades away. Because Newcastle right now can't. It's not even a won't. They can't go anywhere. You're going to be too financially backed. You've got too much of a core squad that can't be picked off one by one. You've got a manager that wants to build this project. There's too many things going in Newcastle's favour for you to just wilt away, as we've spoken about already with the likes of Leicester and Villa. And again, I ain't got no disrespect for Newcastle in that sense. I think he's a good value for that, and that's what the league needs. It makes it more competitive. What I will say is, though, the sooner that, again, the players, the managers, it's from the top down. You're all going to have to acclimatize to these now being the pressure kegs that you find yourselves in season in, season out, because we can't escape it. Spurs, look how Spurs handle this type of pressure. It destroys them every single season because they're just not built for it. But the type of club that you will take that pressure under your wings as Magpies at some point. And I think the sooner you get it, the more comfortable you will feel around these settings, because we're going to be having this same conversation in 12 months' time. You'll see us all with probably a little bit more grey hairs, a little bit more stress, but you'll see us all again around.
Jeez, I hope not.
Me too.
I've enough already, thanks.
I just want to intercept slightly, because I think, Si, do you need to go at some point?
Yeah. Sorry. Cheers, man.
So I just wanted, just before you left, I've got a couple of things for you. Is there anything else you want to add with regards to Newcastle at this point?
I think for me, the wiggle room might be Chelsea. I think Chelsea, the thing is, they might want to leave on a high. They've got quality players that can maybe win the game on their own. Okay, they've been rubbish, but I generally think you know, with the crowd, I know it's going to be like the atmosphere against Brighton. I think they're good, they're great, but they're not clinical, man. They do leave, like today, yeah, they were playing out from the back, and they do it all the time, by the way, and they make mistakes, you know. So if Newcastle can have a plan, and if they have Isak and Callum Wilson on form, they could get the job done, you know, because Everton did the same, and they were trying to play out from the back, and then they punished them. I think
Everton were clever. Everton's game plan that night was very, very good, because what they did was they sat deep and broke, and Brighton couldn't play against it because they had they couldn't get in behind. Whereas I think if we press as high as we normally do, I think that gives Matoma a little bit too much room to run into. So I think Eddie Howe will tweak that. I think we will sit a little bit deeper. I think we'll still press from the front, but I think our middle and back lines will sit a little bit back further than we normally do. I think to cope with the likes of Matoma and McAllister. Absolutely. So I think for me, good luck. Honestly, hopefully me and you we go through, and the Scousers, you know, enjoy Europa League.
Newcastle, Man United Champions League, Liverpool Europa League. Is that what you're going for?
Listen, Newcastle United, and obviously Liverpool. I'm sorry, Errol, but listen, enjoy it, man. It's good times.
Do you finish third or fourth?
I think we'll finish fourth. I don't think we'll finish third. I think Newcastle will get third. So yeah, but listen, if I'm in that Champions League, I don't care, because there's no qualifiers anymore, so there's not that incentive anymore, is there? True. But like I said, it's gonna be hopefully good, man. But nice one for having me on, lads, and it's been a good chat, man.
I know you need to split. Mark, I think you need to
I got to split too, boys. Yeah, I'll drop Saeed Neril a follow when I get off of this as well.
Yeah,
nice to meet
you,
boys.
man. Big up everyone, man.
Boys.
Smash your like,
top man. Top man. You take
no worries,
care,
mate. Boys, we'll talk soon. Take it easy.
Take care, man. See you in a bit, mate.
Errol, we're not stopping with you just yet, and the reason being is because actually there was a great point that Chris has made me aware of, and Bobby put this in the chat actually. So we've held it up. Is that from our perspective? Is why we're saying
Southampton? Yeah, I seen that.
Why we're saying 5 points, 7 goal difference is not enough. With Liverpool playing Southampton on the last day, they can rack up the goals. Is that your mindset?
I genuinely think that the goal difference at this stage, unless we was to do a madness before then, so we only needed 3 or 4, and yous were getting a couple of 1-0s, or you've got the draws, so basically your goals are cancelled out then between now and the end of the season, and then you're only relying on the one game. So if it was 2 draws and then you got the 1 win in the middle, you're relying on that. Say you win that 1-0, you only increase your goal difference by 1. So if there's 8 goals that we need to then better, it means we need to have 3 clean sheets and we need to win by at least 3 goals in every game. Of course, it'd be great to say we're going to win 3-0 tomorrow night. It'd be great to say we're going to win 3-0 against Aston Villa, but that might not happen. To say you're going to need at least 5-6 goals against Southampton come the last game of the season, I find whenever you try and put a number on a match, it never happens. You can't. The results that we've scored mad numbers this season. No Liverpool fan has ever turned around and that was me bookies. That was me bet that I had 7-0 against Man U. Went and wiped the floor with whoever, Bournemouth at the start of the season. We wiped the floor with Rangers. We didn't predict those things. Those things just happened by chance. So I feel like, especially when you need to score that many goals, you end up overdoing it. And I think we've got a few players in our team that are guilty of overdoing it anyway. So I wouldn't want to have that much pressure on us. However, I still think it's going to be Man U that slip up. I've said it for a while. I think if it's going to be anyone, it'll be Man U will slip up, because they'll get to this point now where they feel, although it's like, well, we've got to do it because it's us. But in the back of the mind, the players will go out without the self-belief. They'll talk themselves as if, yeah, we're going to do it because we're Man U. But in the back of the mind, they're constantly thinking about the pressure that Liverpool have applied.
Chris, that's a really good point that Errol's put out there. Like we've admitted to doing it on the show tonight and before. We haven't talked about Man United. Could that be what Errol said? The fact that we're not talking about them means, and sorry, he's gone now. So
he's the going.
Yeah. Does it mean that they drop out in and Liverpool sneaking. Just imagine the fireworks if Liverpool
Ah.
snuck
Mate,
in.
I'd love it. I'd love it. That I said to you before. That's the low hanging fruit. That's the only thing I've got to cling on to this season. That and Everton going down. And to be honest, me finishing in top 4 above Everton is more important than them staying or going. If I'm completely honest, you get me?
Yeah.
Wow.
And do you know what? Not Man United potentially being out without Rashford for the last few games. That's going to be a factor because Anthony Martial's up front, Anthony's on the wing, Sancho, Weghorst. They're not great players, are they? They're just not.
Out for the season? Is he out for
Well,
the season?
he was out against Wolves
Yeah.
because Ten Hag said he was out, and they've got 2 games left. But I don't know. Well, I don't think he'd admit whether he's out for the season anyway. But the fact that he was just completely out the squad for Wolves would indicate that there's potential for him to be out for the last 2.
The only thing is they've got, and that's the scary thing. Like all of us, they've at the moment. I think that's it's a good thing from a neutral's perspective, but from all of us, it keeps us all nervous. We've all got match winners in our teams at the minute, and that can be the difference. And I think that's great for the league and the star quality that we all possess. But it's just a shame that you haven't been able to get your match. Like Isaac, if he would have played more games for you this season, hands down, you'd have nailed on top 4, and you would be thinking this has been one of the best seasons Newcastle have had in top 5 footy in a very long time. Likewise for us, if Virgil van Dijk isn't injured for that long period of time, from the back end of early November right through till coming back until the Real Madrid games after Man U, those times you're probably thinking Liverpool probably stand a better chance in terms of the defensive form. If Diaz isn't injured, we probably score goals when we're struggling in front of goal as well. Man U will probably be thinking the same about Casemiro. So even though we've got match winners, we've got individuals that at times, if we'd have been able to get them on the pitch, we'd have probably all stood a better chance of top 4 this season. It sets next season up lovely. I think there's a few real head turners for next season in terms of the heights that some teams are really going to be trying to push for. But the closing act for this season, I don't see the table finishing in the order that it currently looks right now. I don't.
Interesting, very interesting. Sutty put a comment up there a second ago. Yeah, that one there, in my opinion, Newcastle at the moment, the players look fatigued, pressure of securing top 4, and it has nothing to do with a lack of squad depth playing Isak and Wilson at the same time. It's an interesting point, and
do you feel the lads have got a bit fatigued?
I think. I don't believe that they are. I don't believe that they're fatigued. I think.
I think it's mental.
Yeah, I think and I don't. I do think. I think there's a little bit of pressure there. We have to remember. If you look at this Newcastle United team, you've got Trippier, you've got Botman, and you've got. Who else in that team? You've got Trippier, you've got Botman, and you've maybe got
Wilson's from with England.
I'm going to say maybe Isak. That have been in a position where they've gone on to win something major, or achieve something. So, I think Sociedad have got Champions League football before that Isak's played in. So he's been involved in that and achieved that at La Liga level. You've got Trippier that's won La Liga. So he's been able to handle the pressure. You got Botman that did the impossible and won League ahead of PSG, and they had an unbelievable season when they did that. The season before he left. So you got those 3 players. Bruno came into a Lyon team that was already achieving, that had already achieved that. So he just kind of slotted in. He's never been in a position where he's won it and achieved it for that team. And in fact, the season that he left, they were right down there, lower in the league off the back of that. So we haven't got players in there that have been in this position before, that have experienced it. And we're kind of expecting these guys to kind of ram it forward. We have to expect that there's a little bit of pressure in there. Yep, Connie said he won the Spanish Cup. So they've been there and they've done things in pressure moments. But Is 3 players enough? Is 3 players really enough in a team of 11, of a squad of 16 that have gone and achieved that? We have to remember these things, and these things are new to players. And this is why I think, and this is why I agree with what Chris said before, where he said, I'd be really disappointed if or gutted if we didn't achieve it, is because not only have we not achieved it, from a mental perspective, that then builds and adds pressure to future years. If we go and get top 4 now, these players are going to lift. They're going to know that they're good enough to achieve it.
What I
They're
was
going
saying
to
before.
That's what Errol said. Yeah, it is.
That acclimatizing, the sooner the better for you.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is why it has to be this year. It has to be this year. We've earned the right to be there. We've earned the right to be in the position. 3 games to go in 3rd position. There is no reason why we shouldn't wrap this up and make this a Champions League season. But if we don't, if we get to this point this time next year, is that mentality of losing out going to kick in again? I don't want that to happen. And
not forgetting as well, Pete, which we've not spoken about, we're guaranteed European football, so that it could be Thursday nights, couldn't it, if we don't get Champions League. And then you add to that, Chelsea are going to be better next season. Liverpool are going to come back better next season. Are we going to, when I said before about not having an easier opportunity or a better opportunity, that's kind of what I was referring to, because yes, like Evel said, you acclimatise, you get used to being in the top 4. We'll go into next season and we'll treat the Champions League. There won't be any pressure at all on us in the Champions League, because we're just grateful to be there. But if we miss out on Champions League this year, we're then going to be thinking, right, we need to get in the Champions League next year. Oh, we've got Thursday games now. Oh, Liverpool and Chelsea are better now. It could be another season or 2 before we're in this position again.
And let's add to that is that what other teams think about us mentality-wise. If we get Champions League, I think we talked about it on the previous show, on the review show the other night, in that we said, look, last night, in fact, if we get Champions League next season, you guys know it, Liverpool know it, because you guys do it sometimes. We did it back in the early 2000s. I used to go and watch Newcastle. Chris used to go and watch Newcastle in the early 2000s, where we would turn up and teams would already have lost the game before they'd stepped out on the pitch, because they know they're coming up against a team that are just relentless and are just going to absolutely smash them into the ground. Liverpool have experienced it and have done that to teams over the years, certainly over the last 4 or 5 years. If we secure Champions League, they're going to fear Newcastle United going into next season. And it's certainly coming to St. James's Park. Teams are going to be mentally already thinking of the worst before they've stepped out on the pitch. If we don't get Champions League, teams are going to turn around and go, oh, well, they're not as good as what we thought they were. And their mentality to us starts to change. That doesn't discard the fact of whether we think it's been a good season or not. It's better and more than what we ever imagined, but we're there and we can taste it and it tastes good. Daz, one of our loaded team members, he puts the Champions League theme on every week and he puts it louder.
Manifest this shit, bro. You gotta put it out there to the universe.
We're hearing it. We're hearing the Champions League ringing around, and we think, you know what?
I can't even be mad. I've said it a couple of times. I've even put it out there in tweets and that. I've said I'm not even mad if this Newcastle team get into the Champions League spot. Like genuinely, like.
There you go, man. There you go. We've not even got the Europa League team out there. We ain't even got the Europa League team there. But always, man.
This season's been one of them ones where I think it's shown the levels now that you've kind of got it. And whether you want to do it financially or you want to do it with your project, there's such a mix and a real genuine mix of how teams are doing it. It's been a shame that a couple of the other big contenders haven't decided to show up, because I think it would have made it even more interesting. But I think it's the prelude for next season. That I think next season's the one where it's going to be proper box office. I've just got a feeling that next season, as you were saying there, you're going to have Chelsea come back resurgent with a new manager, better players, or playing with a common goal in mind. I'd like to think Liverpool will step the levels back up. Will we? The disappointing thing from a Liverpool perspective is, the last couple of seasons, our job has not been to just step the levels up. Our job is to have been to increase a lead on where we was with City. Because I think for a long time, us and City were nearly neck and neck. On any given day, it could have been one of us, but we was pretty much neck and neck. Our task really was can we get a gap between us and City? Because if you get a gap between us and City, there'll be a gap between the chase and pack. We fell away from that now. So the next job is to get back in with the pack more. But now the pack's got Newcastle in it. You're going to want Spurs that, as much as we take the piss out of Tobes and whatnot, Spurs, I think they're going to be better value for money without Harry Kane next season. I think Man U, another year with a Ten Hag and getting the players, getting a striker, more importantly, that they need, are going to be more threatening. Arsenal aren't going to want to take the foot off their gas either, even if this season does peter out a little bit in a disappointing fashion. So I think next season, there's going to be no let up. I think it's going to be blockbuster from match day one, to be honest with you boys.
It will be. And someone else put in the chat, it's going to be an absolute mix up next season with so many teams fighting out for positions. It could well be the same again. Other teams that we didn't expect. Could it be Arsenal that drop off? Could it be Man United that drop off? Could it be Newcastle? Could it be Liverpool again? Like, who knows? Like we don't know. And this is the beauty of Premier League football. But massive thanks to Tampa Toon, £10 donation in the chat, $10 donation. Top man, I appreciate that. And look, loads of people have put comments in. Jonathan said the entire squad should listen to that music going to bed each night. You know what? If it helps, why not? That's for sure. And look. I'm before we wrap up and go to sponsors, I'm gonna end it on this. Unless there's any questions, I don't know if there's any quick questions in the chat. But I'm not sure.
Let's have a look. Oh, we are. Yeah, okay. So David R wants to ask Edel, from a Liverpool perspective, how devastating would it be to possibly miss out on Champions League with a return to Thursday night football? Would this be acceptable to the board as it's some drop off?
I don't think it'll be acceptable to a lot of the fans. I think a lot of the fans are kind of sharing my line and thinking in the sense that we've had long enough to get our act together. And ultimately, in the event that we don't, even if we get to 71 points and it's not enough, it will be a massively disappointing season for Liverpool, because there's been enough games for us to really put the run of form required to get into top four, especially with how, again, not to discredit what Newcastle have done, and I've been praising you, but in considering you could have cemented it a couple of weeks ago, Man U haven't looked worthy of top four all season. You've been the most inconsistent out of the three. So I think I'm looking at them more forensically and being like, we should have well been in there with Newcastle. Newcastle should be fourth. Liverpool should be sat there third right now. But we haven't done it. We haven't been good enough to do it thus far. And we're basically begging it to the last game of the season. It's not been good enough, but the prize in itself is Champions League. So you go, all right, then we pick ourselves up and go again next year. If we don't, however, the only, and Pete heard me say it a few months ago, if we don't get Champions League, I don't want Europe at all. I don't want it at all. The fact that someone else turned around and said to me in the show before, he was like, have you got used to the fact that you haven't been where you wanted to? And the disappointment this season has settled in. So I'm thinking we started to see a gem in Bajcetic. Diaz is coming back. We want to see the best out of Harvey Elliott. We want to see Trent in this inverted role a lot more. We've got Konate, great defender. We've got Calvin Ramsey coming back. There's a core of young and interesting players that I think would benefit in the same way that Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard have benefited from Europa League games in the last couple of seasons. I think they are team. It's not to say that they're not ready for the Champions League, because they've done at the Champions League level as well. I just think there's something in getting those lads extra games. And I think with the new midfield that we're going to need to buy, I think there's a element of Klopp likes games to bed players in. He doesn't want to bed them in the Premier, and with the pressure is you must win. I think he'd want to go for the tried and tested midfield as much as possible. Maybe one ready-made player slot in, but there might be two, and there might be another one that he just kind of rotates around, the Curtis Jones, the Bajcetics. And I think that's where we'll get the most out of Europa in terms of squad development. And of course, the expectation that it's in Ireland next year. I think the final's in Dublin. It'd be a fantastic piss up for a load of Scousers to go over there. And it's the only one we haven't won with Kloppo. So we're finding ways and narratives to make positives out of it, but it
Yeah.
would be a huge disappointment. In terms of the board, I think the board would be disappointed as well, but the board have only got themselves to blame, bro. I'll be completely real with you on that. If the board would have funded the rebuild that we'd have needed, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So they can only blame themselves.
Yeah. We've got an interesting question from William Smith here. And this kind of leads on to a question I wanted to ask you, Adel. He's put, if Brighton get Europa, how many do they sell in the summer? And what I wanted to ask you was, I keep hearing that this Alexis McAllister's deal's done, like 70 million. Is that the case, do you reckon?
I've not heard anything concrete. I know that we've approached agents and we've approached we've basically approached Brighton. Brighton have said they'll agree the deal, but the player said, I'm not going to entertain any conversations until the season's wrapped up, which I think is quite honourable on his part. He just wants to do his job. He knows that there's going to be plenty of opportunities for him come the summer. I think from a Brighton's perspective, that's crucial for them, because if they do, they can turn around to a couple of lads and say, stay with us for one more year. You know, if you want your move, the move's available for you, because you're going to be worth the 70s, the 80 mils, the 50 mils. You're thinking Matoma will be worth upwards of 50 mil. You know, Casado's already going to be upwards of 60, 70 mil. We know McAllister's already going to be getting price tagged for that same kind of fee as well. So when you break it down like that, they'll probably adopt a Dortmund model. If they had any sense, that's what I'd be doing if I was Brighton getting into Europe this summer. Adopt the Dortmund model where you say, right, one of yous are going, the other lads are going to stay. You're going to stay for another season. We're going to go and have a good experience in Europe, and then at the end of next season, come what may, we'll weigh up the options then, and then we'll recycle and we'll go again. And if we have to sell, we'll have to sell. But they're not in any pressure to sell. They've done an amazing job at the minute, Brighton. So the pressure's not there, and the cherry on the cake for them would be that Europa. It's an extra bit of leverage to use when you're trying to persuade people to stick around and obviously build on the project. The one standout for me though is the manager. If that manager gets picked off, that's when you might see hopefully this time you might see Brighton go back to a bit of realms of mediocrity if the manager goes. But the way that they run at the minute, it almost seems it doesn't matter who comes in, because they're just set up for success.
I'm going to come back to a couple of questions. I'm going to steal the chat for you for a second.
Oh, go for it, mate. Go for it.
I'm going to come to you, Chris, on this one. This is a devil's advocate job. We know a devil's advocate job on Loaded Mag NUFC. But would it be a good thing going into the Europa League next season, because we might have a realistic chance of actually winning it? I'm not advocating it, but what are your thoughts about that, Newcastle?
Do you know what? I had this feeling a couple of months ago when I did think that we would drop off. John, to answer your question, I think if that happened, that would be my silver lining. Talking about, I think this squad is in a better place for the Europa League. Like, we probably need one or two players, and I think we'd stand a really good chance of winning the Europa League, to be honest, if we ended up in there. But I just don't even want to think about going in there.
You should take it so much more. You should treat it like Seville treat it, and that's not a disrespectful thing against you or Seville. But like the way, what I said about Liverpool this season about that arrogance turning up, Man U and Arsenal, as much as they have the potential to win that competition every single season, but they just turn up and expect to win against some of these teams and the Lisbons, and that's when you get done over, because for the rest of the European crop, they still hold that trophy in such a high regard. And I genuinely believe that Newcastle will breathe be a breath of fresh air in that competition, because from an English representative point of view, you'd be going in there with your mind's eye fixed on winning it. Whereas everyone else that goes into it, and I hope Liverpool, if it's us next season, we go in with that mentality, but everyone else goes in with we're going to get to the final, and then it's how we perform in the final. And it's like, no, you still have to work your way there and earn it, man. It's made a fool out of a lot of English clubs in recent years, the Europa League. I'll be real.
Yeah.
But the last time we got in there, we got what was it? We got to the quarterfinals, got knocked out by, I think it was Benfica, only just, and that was after years of.
Was that in 2009? Was that no? Wait, when was that? No.
2012-13. It was after we finished fifth in the league.
Was that when Cardozo was up front for them? Sure, it was Cardozo.
Might have been.
Good striker, then. Very good striker.
Yeah, he was brilliant at Benfica. I can't remember if he was there at the time. I think he might have been. But they had a good team. But we always take, whether it's the UEFA Cup and we got to the semi-finals of that last time when we got knocked out by Marseille and Didier Drogba. And we've had other times where other teams have knocked us out in the build-up to that, but then when it turned to obviously the Europa League and we've got the likes of Benfica knocking us out, but we've always got to the last stages of that competition, so we would always take that seriously. But the Champions League is where it's at, that's for sure. And Chris, before I've got a couple of quick ones.
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
Graham, TC Travels mentions clean sheets. We need to start getting clean sheets. That needs to start on Thursday, surely.
Yeah, 1,000,000%, mate. Like we at one point we were taking clean sheets for granted, weren't we? I had I've got Botman and Trippier in my fancy footy, and every week I was just like, sound clean sheet, and we've really struggled with them, haven't we? And we've noticed recently, you know, we're conceding the first goal, and straight away we're going, right, we need two. We saw it at Southampton. We've seen it at Leeds. You know, you can't lose football matches if you don't concede. And that's what we've struggled with a lot recently. And at one point, we had the best defense in the league. I think that record's fell away from us now. But we just need to get back to that mentality, don't we? And funnily enough, it all started to fall away, didn't it? When we played Liverpool at St James's, and when Pope dashed off his line. And since then, Pope's looked shaky. The back fours look shaky. So it'd be great, wouldn't it, to beat Brighton on Thursday and come away with a clean sheet. I think that'd just lift confidence as well, especially going into Leicester. And when do you know what I was thinking about it before? When Evan was talking about Brighton not being like a must not lose. When you think about it, it probably is a must not lose, isn't it? Because if we go and beat Brighton at home, and then we know we've got Leicester at home to secure top four.
Oh, you imagine the atmosphere for that game.
Exactly.
I need to go.
Honestly, I swear, if we beat Brighton on Thursday, the atmosphere on Monday for that Leicester game, like it'll be a bit like when we knocked Leicester out of the cup for the Carabao Cup in the second leg where Dan Burns scored the winning goal. It'll be like that. It will be electric because the fans will know that it's just that one win. And to be fair, equally, it could be to relegate Leicester the same day, potentially, if results go the way it is. But there's a few things, really short questions for you, Errol, before we wrap
I need to shoot as well myself.
No worries. It says, Errol, the truth now that Saeed's gone is Weghorst better than Berbatov.
Berbatov was a baller. Lazy, but Berbatov was a baller. I'm sorry, he just was. He oozed class, Berbatov, but he was just lazy.
Can you think of anyone other than Can you think of anyone with a better touch than Berbatov? Remember when he brought it down? It was about 40 feet in the air, just brings it down just like that.
Yeah, he was quality. He had everything. He just didn't have an engine. If you'd have put an engine in him, if you'd have put James Milner's engine in Berbatov, he'd have won a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
You can't even tell me I'm chatting shit because he has everything apart from the engine. If you'd put that engine and that work rate into him, he would have been a different breed altogether.
100%. Another quick one. How's Klopp's hammy?
Sound, yeah, you had an ice bath in his arm now.
And lastly, we're going to let you go because you need to get away to warm up for the Lawless battle on Tuesday. Is that right?
You know that, yeah. Lawless he's a character. He is. Out of all of the content streamers I've jumped on shows with, he is the ultimate protagonist, isn't he, or whatever. He's that guy. He really does go for it. But he's a good man.
Today. I don't know if you saw it, the chat with the Arsenal chat. He was on there. He was going
about Wenger. He's like, Wenger, now got to take responsibility. He never misses a beat, but his quality, you gotta love him. You gotta love him.
He's a great guy. Look, Errol, absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you for staying on a little bit longer. Just before you go, predictions. Who are the third and fourth places going to in the top four this season for you?
My heart says that Liverpool sneaks into the top four and we finish fourth with Newcastle above us. But my head says that it'll probably stay where it is. If I had to be like really straight laced, the table probably does end up this way. I think Man U finish fourth. but I don't want them to. I just don't want them to. Like, they've had the trophy. Let them just have the trophy and let them have the Carabao, and then we can banter them from there on out. But yeah, I think that me heart. I'm going with me heart because that's what I want to happen. But I just think we've left it too late, and I'm gutted. I am devastated about that. But I'm glad that we're making you sweat. And if it's come at the 11th hour to sweat, I'd rather it come now because this is when it means the most. You know what I mean? BHAFC just strolling over the line and it been a foregone conclusion. I'm glad that it, apart from obviously the title now, I'm glad top four looks like it's going to go to the wire.
Definitely. Look, there's so much love for you in the chat tonight, man.
Thank you.
Obviously, Lisa, who's always on the 12th man and always unloaded, giving you props, and many others in the chat. I really appreciate your thoughts. And look, I'm going to let you go whilst we wrap up. Top man, as always. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll catch you on Tuesday.
This won't be the last time we see Errol on the channel. We'll be up there talking about European stuff next season.
I'm sure we will, bro. I'm sure we will be regular occurrence. Just now, take it easy. See you as well. Take care,
nice to meet you, mate. Take it easy. Ta-ra, mate.
Brilliant to have Errol on, as always. He's a top man, knows his stuff. Great crack. And look, this is what we bring to Loaded Mag NUFC. We say it all the time on away days. Battleground Europe. This is what we do. Some of the top content creators across many different clubs come to Loaded Mag NUFC because they appreciate not just what we talk about as a channel, but also you guys in the chat. And you guys need a massive big up and respect for the questions and the comments in the chat that you provide, because it means for a really, really good show. And we do read what you say on there, and we keep the comments on and we star them. Chris been starring some fantastic questions tonight, and it's amazing. So thank you to everyone, and of course thank you to Saeed as well from Saeed TV. If you haven't yet given them a follow, give it Saeed TV a follow. He'll be back on Loaded Mag NUFC Newcastle. Loaded Mag NUFC TV will be back, that's for sure. But look, Lisa's right, it's just Brandy and Blaze back on for sure. And just before we get to the sponsors, Chris, what is your prediction? How's it going to go?
Oh, it'll be for top four, just for top four. Oh. Do you know what? I am torn. I am torn. I you know, when you have like one of those like out of body experiences, and you know, you look back and you think, you know, we were talking with Saeed and Errol. Like, I just hope we're not looking back and going, oh, do you remember when we were this close to getting it? Remember this close? And like, I think I think it all does hinge on this game on Thursday, because I think if we get a draw, like, it's not the end. But I think if we lose, mate, it's bad. It's just really bad, and I just wonder whether I just wonder how the players are going to react. Someone said in the chat earlier, you know, about Sean Longstaff being missing, and like I watched a bit of the review show that you did yesterday with Dazp, and like, you're right. Do you know, my biggest problem at the moment is the midfield just doesn't look balanced. We don't look right. Like Joe Linton in that first half yesterday, he was everywhere. He just didn't look himself. Bruno, people, like people, you know, still saying about Bruno, and Eddie's come out and gone, yeah, he's great. There's something not right with him. I don't know what it is, whether it's his confidence, whether he's carrying an injury, whether he's, you know, he's missing Sean Longstaff and he's getting found out. Maybe he's not got the protection in front of him. I just don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
He needs surgery, doesn't he? They've talked about it. He needs surgery. He's come out and said he needs surgery on his ankle, but he's continuing to play with it, with his ankle problem. And this is part of the thing that we're missing.
Oh, I thought he said he felt fine.
No, he's okay to play, but he's got a problem.
But he's not right. Oh, well, there you go then. Yeah, well,
they've already said in the summer that's what he's going to have. He's going to have surgery on his ankle. So he's playing. Although he's okay to play, he's not 100% fit. He's probably like 80% fit because his ankle keeps going and they're not sure why, and he needs to have surgery to correct it. Mm. So you're not getting the explosive, the pressing, the battling Bruno Guimaraes that we're used to seeing in the first half of the season, because he's got a problem. And, you know, maybe if he'd have had the surgery at the beginning of this year, 2023, he might be back now and playing and fit and firing. But we needed him through that period of time, because without him, we don't have the creativity in the midfield. And obviously, without Longstaff, it's even more telling. So that's why for me. But did you say where you think we're gonna?
I done a key fall then, didn't I? I just probably sat on the fence and I just have answered. No, do you know what? I am gonna. Lisa's telling me off there. I am gonna stay positive, and I think we will do it. And do you know what? Ironically, and yet, do you know what? I am gonna say this because I think this is what will happen. I think we'll do it, and I think we'll do it on a technicality, i.e., I think either Liverpool or Man United will drop points and then we'll go over the line. I don't think Liverpool and Man United get 9 points between now and the end of the season. I just don't. So when I say a technicality, we'll still deserve it and we'll still earn it. But what I mean is, I don't think it will be us, getting to that magic 6 point mark that we're after. I think we'll only need, say, 4 points. I think I'm actually really looking forward to this game tomorrow. I think Liverpool could bottle it tomorrow. The more I think about it, the more I think, Leicester haven't had their moment. We spoke about it earlier. Leicester haven't had their moments, and it's do or die for them. They've got to do something. Everton have got beaten today by City, which everyone expected. So Leicester need to make a move very, very quickly, and they could see this Liverpool game as the opportunity to do that. So I'm going to say we're going to get top 4, and we don't need to get 6 points. I think we'll get it before them.
It's the one game, this game tomorrow, Leicester-Liverpool, that's the one game they can control, because it's at home. The King Power, everyone, sell out stadium, the clappers, whatever they normally have to raise the atmosphere, to drum it up, to make it difficult for Liverpool. They're going to have to be defensively solid. Leicester are capable of scoring the goal, but they've already proven it. I mean, I think they lost 5-3 to Fulham. They still scored 3 goals, because they were capable. They missed a penalty. They've got goals in them. It's whether they can be solid enough to stop the Liverpool attacks. And there's a chance that they don't need to beat Liverpool. They just need to take a point. They just need to stop them winning.
Made up of a point. Up of a point, Pete. Huge for us, that. Huge.
It'd be absolutely massive, because a win at Brighton seals the deal, or very close to seals the deal. So therefore, that's what we're looking at. But for me, I think we get top 4. These next 2 home games, and St. James's Park being a fortress this season, I think we'll tell the difference. I think we'll get the points that we need to before we get to Chelsea. I'm still confident of he's getting at least a point at Chelsea, but I personally don't think we'll need it. I understand why Newcastle fans are a little bit apprehensive, but at the same time, you made a great point, and so many others have made a great point, that everyone's expecting Man United and Liverpool to win all of their games. I don't believe it's going to go that way. And I'm with you, Chris, and I think that gives us an opportunity to wrap it up. So both of us think we're going to get top 4 Champions League football coming to Newcastle, as the way in which we see it. And loads in the chat feel the same. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be straightforward. But when is it ever? When you're at the top table and when you're fighting for the top opportunities to play European football, which we have confirmed, by the way. But when you're looking for Champions League football, it's never, ever simple. Someone put in the chat, I think it was 98 or 99, we beat Forest 5-0 on the last game of the season to pip Arsenal and Liverpool to Champions League. We've been there. We've done it before. We've been in this position. Champions League is not easy to get, and we have to remember that we have to go through the trenches and battle and scrap and claw to get the opportunity to play in the top cup competition in world football. So keep confident, keep positive.
Do you think we're gonna beat Brighton, Pete?
Do I think we're going to beat Brighton? Do I think we can beat Brighton? Yeah, I do, regardless of how good they played today. The fact that they played Sunday and that they play again Thursday, less recovery time, they picked up a couple of knocks today. Yeah, I do. I think we're more than capable of beating Brighton. I think we have a different type of skill set that Arsenal have, that could disrupt Brighton. I think our defense is better, although it's not been playing well at the moment. I think our defense is better to combat Brighton, in my opinion. And I think we've got attackers that can cause Brighton in more problems in different ways. I do, but we have to look. To be fair, we'll talk about it on away days. I'll put the team up. What I think will need to be put out. But massive thanks to everyone in the chat as always. Thank you for your support, as always. And look, just as we start to wrap up, we'll look at our fantastic sponsors. So massive thank you to the radiatorshed.com. Thank you for all your support. We haven't had Russ on the channel for a little bit of a while, but he is about, so don't worry, don't panic. And of course, the Radiator Shed, we're both in prison right there. Go and support all things the radiatorshed.com. And of course, they are aluminium rads, are environmentally friendly and are perfect for heat source pumps. They offer a home survey service and will install if required. So get in touch with them, and they've got a fine selection, should we say, of fantastic radiators. So get involved. And of course, massive thanks to Bathroom Designs H2O, the Northeast's largest suppliers of Vilroy and Bosch bathroom wear. Team Valley Gateshead, over 20 years established, ran by the family. So get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. And of course, get involved in all of their bathroom attire, and you can see the quality, and we always put it on the screen. Top bathrooms, and more pics will be coming as well. That is for sure. So get involved. And if you're not a member, and we've got lots of new members coming in recently, you can only do it on laptop, not on a mobile phone, but click the join button, $1.99 a month, and you will be part of the fantastic prize draws that will be available for all Loading Mac NUFC members. And Chris will be coming along with some more prize draws giveaways that will be coming very, very soon. We're coming towards the end of the month, so they will be back. That is for sure. So that is all with the sponsors. Is there anything else you want to add, Chris?
I just want to tell everyone to don't forget to like the show, and please consider subscribing if you're not already. I know a lot of you in the chat will already be subscribed, but if you're watching for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please do. It's free to do so, and as always, please hit that like button because it helps us with the algorithms and gets the show out to more and more people.
And you're not wrong. Absolutely spot on. And massive thanks to everyone in the show. Massive thanks to our resident spanners, the likes of Lisa, Jules that was on earlier, and the rest of the team. Great to see the likes of Yano and many others back in the chat tonight. And of course, we will be back with more. We have another show coming up for us very, very shortly, looking at the big game on Thursday, and it is away days. We weren't quite able to make it tonight. Adam from Together BHA was too busy celebrating on their pod. They didn't have time, but don't fear, they will be back on Tuesday to gloat and obviously look ahead to the massive game on Thursday. So we'll be back Tuesday, 7:30, away days. Don't be late. Us boys will be back with more content as always. And of course, for those watching back, just look at the picture, Battleground Europe, the final four. You'll find that on YouTube, and that is where you'll be able to watch this show back if you missed it from the beginning. Chris, massive thanks for you joining us as always, as part of the Branding Blaze. Great opinions in chat as always. Thank you to Mark, who had to shoot earlier, Saeed TV, if you haven't checked them out, please do, and Errol as well, who also plies his trade on Redmen TV. Go and give them a follow and see what they're all about. Guys, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time on a Sunday evening. It's not over yet. We are still fighting for this Champions League title, and we're going to go to St James's Park on Thursday, and we're going to go to Brighton, and we're going to get something. we're going to get something. And
I'd love it if we beat them, Pete. I'd love it.
There we go. Guys, how do you like that?
How you like